They do high quality swimwear and then have to do some wool. So I was able to look at this dress form and go, that's my body. My forearms are just muscular. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. My name's Emma V, and today I'm going to talk about what it's like working as a professional fit model. I feel like I can qualify as a professional fit model. I have like a contract. I was gonna say I don't necessarily work a set hours every week, but like I do have a pretty consistent contract. I'll talk about my hours exactly later. And I have a rate, and I work with one specific company. I feel like I'm a professional fit model. I make money doing modeling. I will say a common misconception about modeling in the fashion industry is there's only like one really way to do it, and there's one kind of modeling, when there's actually a lot of different kinds of modeling, and I did want to talk about that a little bit. Because fit modeling is such an important part of like quality garment construction, and it's not something that's always talked about necessarily. Even in bachelor's degrees for fashion design, which I'm getting at the end of the semester, it's not something that's necessarily brought up, in my opinion, early enough in teaching in the design process. It's been brought up in this year, but I'm a senior. I'm in my 4th year of education, and I think it should be brought up significantly sooner. Typically, when you think of modeling in the fashion industry, you think first off of like runway modeling, as well as like commercial or print modeling. So they wear the clothes, they take the photos, they get paid, and they're done. Oftentimes not paid enough, in my opinion. I think skilled modeling is labor, especially good runway modeling. I think people deserve to be compensated for their work, and modeling on the runway, modeling in photos is hard work. You have to build skill. Like, yes, you kind of have to like win the genetic lottery and be really pretty and be the body type that is ideal for whichever brands you're working for. And it still requires skill. Like, being pretty only takes you so far. As a designer who gets to select her models from a roster for Kansas City Fashion Week for the 2nd year in a row, yes, I like that. Like, I will pick models based on who I think matches the aesthetic of what I want for my collection and for my brand. But I also look at their walk, like their actually model walk, and I have decided not to go with people specifically because I don't think their walk is good enough. A lot of times the runway models will often work as fit models as well for smaller brands, and so that's what I do with my collections. I get models to commit to modeling for me for the end of the semester fashion show at school. I did this last semester. I got models to commit to walk for me in December for the fashion show, and also with the understanding that there were going to be a couple fittings throughout the semester while I figured out the fit of the garments that I was going to be making. So I use the same person for that. Now, for bigger brands, they often will hire a dedicated fit model. That's me. These are not the models you see in their publications or in their advertisements for their clothes or in a runway if it's in a brand that does runway, but it is somebody who shows up semi-consistently to the tech designers and will try on clothes, will test the fit of the clothes, and the designers can then look at their fit model compared to their sizes and determine what adjustments need to be made for that size range. And so obviously I can't speak for every single brand's experience, but the one that I've worked for, I have learned a ton working for them. I was hired on in early September, I believe, and have been working with them consistently since then. I work for a swimsuit company called Somersault. They do high quality swimwear and some apparel stuff. So they also make swimsuit cover-ups, resort and loungewear, and pajamas as well. And then I think they do occasionally apparel, but that's really the main focus. A little bit higher price point than what I can typically afford when it comes to swimsuits, but they are high quality swimsuits and they're well made. And I will tell you, there is a lot of data and analytics that go into the fit of their clothes. Like, I think it's really cool the way that they approach it. I work directly with the tech designers first and foremost. They are the ones who are my point of contact. They reach out to me. She will say, hey, we need you on this day, this and this time. So typically there are 2 days of the week, and there are a set 2-hour time block that is the most common time for fit times for those 2 days. They're 2 different times a day, so if I wasn't a student, it would make it kind of difficult, but it works for my schedule right now. And they also pay $50 an hour, so I make it work for my schedule right now. My on-campus job pays minimum wage for our area, and so when I got the job, I was like, hey, I'm gonna be moving hours around. Fortunately, my boss is super understanding about it and was like, understandable. I'm also lucky. It's like a 20-minute drive from campus, and there's a Smoothie King on the way. So I often will do, especially because the fittings are either right before or right after lunch, I will get Smoothie King as my little treat. Again, if I'm doing 2 hours at $50 an hour, I can afford like a $7 or $8 smoothie for my lunch. Because also then I'm getting my fruits and vegetables in, and cooking is hard when you're busy. The way that an average fitting works is I park in the parking garage like a block or two away. I get to the building, I clock in on an app on my phone, and then I head downstairs to the technical design studio. And when I get there, we chat for a moment, and the head technical designer, she will show me the rack, which is divided into two sections. One section is for the extended sizes, and one side is for the Missy side. So I actually have a coworker, I guess. She's the other fit model. She and I work together, so we're scheduled for the same fittings. We show up at the same times. We try on the same clothes. She's about a dress size 4, dress size 6-ish, and I am their size 20. So we will put on the same swimsuit, and then they will look at the swimsuits both from a technical standpoint of how well did they fit each of us? Do we feel supported? Do we feel like anything's gonna fall out? Because for swimsuits, kind of an important thing is that you feel secure in less clothing. But they also look at us proportionally between the two looks. So obviously our proportions are very different because we are very different sizes, but they want to make sure the swimsuit reads similarly on both styles. So if my neckline looks way lower than, I almost said her name. I don't want to do that because I respect people's privacy. If my neckline looks way lower and more revealing than hers, even if it's technically the same graded, they may adjust, either bring hers down or bring mine up to make them more proportional. And then whatever changes they make on the swimsuits that I'm wearing, they adjust in the extended sizes. So then they have their set grading, which pattern grading is really important and something I've talked about in the past, and how plus sizes often have to be graded differently than straight sizes because, again, proportionally, it changes a little bit, which is exactly what happens with their swimsuits. So for their extended sizes, they change their patterns based on what their fit model in the 20, how it fits on me or whoever their fit model is at the time. There's been other models in the past. Obviously, they didn't just start doing this in September. And eventually, I will be moving on, depending on what my jobs look like after I graduate. In a few short months, everything's fine. It's all fine. I know exactly what's happening.
The period of transition, and I do so well at just going with the flow, and I've never been high-strung or over-attentive in the slightest, and I don't need to plan every moment of my life. It's okay if I don't.
But eventually they'll have a different fit model for 20. But I come in, and typically they will hang it left to right, which I love the technical designer. She's really lovely. If I'm there early or if the other model's not there yet, we'll often chat for a few minutes. And technical design is something that I think is really interesting. I love the nitty-gritty analytical side of fashion. I do love the design work, but technical designers are always in demand because it takes real qualitative abilities to be a good technical designer. I'm of the opinion that if you are going to work as a creative designer, you should be able to, at least in theory, make anything that you design. Not everybody follows that. So a lot of times creative designers will draw a drawing that is hard to achieve and then hand off. If I was ever on a creative design, I want to be able to hand off something that makes sense. And if I'm on the technical side, I want to receive something that makes sense, but I do love a challenge. I love giving myself design challenges to have to struggle and figure out. I think creative directors should have that practice in general. Technical designers always do. But with the chatting and everything, I will put my bag down. I usually bring my water bottle. If I have my smoothie, if I get my smoothie beforehand, I'll have my smoothie too. And I will take off any big jewelry that I have. I get undressed. If I am trying on apparel, I leave my bra on. And no matter what I'm trying on, I leave my underwear on. With apparel, they ask me to bring an underwire bra specifically. So I wear one of my nicer underwire lane brand bras. If I'm not wearing a nicer bra that day, if I'm wearing more comfy clothes, which happen more and more as the semester went on, I would just bring my underwire bra in my bag. And I'll show you here, with the bra, if I'm not wearing a supportive bra, if I'm wearing a really old stretched out sports bra or just a comfier tank bra kind of situation, which I tend to do for longer days because they're comfortable. I like an underwire bra, a well-fitting bra. They also make my clothes look better, but I'll show right here the difference between an underwire and a softer bra in the way that it's just even in a t-shirt. And so if I'm doing a fitted tank or dress, that's even more important to have a well-fitting bra. And the other fit model, even though she has a much smaller bust, she's also given the similar instructions. She has a specific bra that she'll bring in her bag. And so if we're doing apparel, she'll put that one on. If we're not doing apparel, then we don't wear bras underneath our swimsuits, obviously, but we do wear underwear just because, hygiene. Also, occasionally there will be issues with the shape of the crotch, and it genuinely is it's a comfortability thing for me personally, as well as the whole tech team who then has to look at the garment on me, that I have underwear on underneath. There are sometimes occasionally when we'll pull out water soluble markers and literally draw on my hip where the hip line of one swimsuit sits, like based on the coverage, and then have me try on another one to compare the lines. It doesn't happen super often, but it is really frequent that they will pin the garments on you like in regular fittings. They also, I have learned, because spandex and like stretchy fabrics work with negative ease, so the fabric is smaller than the body and it stretches to fit. You know how swimsuits work most of the time. They do this thing where they will, if something is too tight and just not sitting right, they will cut the fabric and let it release. So if the back of the swimsuit is like way too tight on the butt, they might cut a line across the back and let it release and see how much they need to add to it to create like the better fit, which I had heard of in theory, but hadn't really like ever tried, and was able to try last semester with one of my draping projects for my senior collection. I ended up doing the cut and release on one of my models, because I learned it in a fitting where I am the model. I haven't even had like a full caffeinated beverage yet today, and I'm still getting like off track left, right, and sideways. Oh, but once I have whatever apparel or swimsuit item on, typically the other model, she and I will wait for each other to be ready so we go out at the same time. So if I change faster, I'll take a sip of my water, or she'll check her phone real quick. Then we will walk out into the area and stand against this blank white wall. The head designer will take a photo of each of us. She has like just like a digital camera. It kind of looks like the one I had in like middle school, where that I would take to the zoo and take way too many photos of animals. But little camera, and she'll take one of us standing straight forward, and then I'm in a spinny chair, so I can just spin to the side, and we will put our arm up like this so you can see the side seam and the arm side and see all the details you need to see, and then face backward. And then if we are wearing swimsuit bottoms or like apparel bottoms that you can't see the waistband in or whatever's on top, so whether that's like a tankini or a shirt or like a tunic, we will pull up the shirt all the way up, like including the back, making sure it's up above the waistband, and then do the same photo while just like holding it up to make sure that they have photo references to look back on, because something that's so important with like patterning and garment construction and garment manipulation is just having a visual to then reference back to. It would be very expensive to pay to have somebody stand there all the time while you are making garment alterations, especially for a company as big as this one that does hundreds of styles. But then they may have us sit down on a stool in front of them to check to see if the waistband dips in the back when we sit down. They may have us walk around a little to see if the swimsuit rides up in the back. They will have us check to make sure the bra cups are in the right spot. They'll have us raise our arms above our head and put them back down. And does the bikini move when we do that? And it's also on us to report if like, hey, it's like pinching me in my armpit. It's too high up here. Or like the crotch is riding up in the butt. I feel like my butt's being flossed. That kind of feedback in, professional terms. The one that I had to get for one garment was that the like vertical stretch felt super tight and I felt like I was slouching, which proportionally I have a shorter torso than their actual 20. So then they knew to flag that as like, wait, hold on, this one is, something's wrong with this one because usually her torso is too short. The size is the average of each size. So they go off of the Albanon sizes, which is the most accurate. They have taken hundreds of thousands of body measurements and have these size charts. They're incredible. They also have the Albanon dress forms, which was super cool because they have a 20 dress form. So I was able to look at this dress form and go, that's my body. That I thought was really, really cool. But they have different forms across a variety of sizes, so they can try swimsuits on a variety of sizes when they don't have fit models in person. The biggest measurement difference from me and their size 20 is my thighs. My thighs are bigger. I'm just like that thick. I did think it was funny the first day. They were like, yeah, her low hip is like 2 inches bigger, and so are her thighs. So she's definitely more curvy than our standard 20. I was like, oops. But also it's not a huge problem because again, they do swimwear. So like low hip is not as important as high hip measurement. And a lot of their pants and shorts are flowier because again, resort wear, like lounge wear kind of thing. Pajamas tend to be wider in the hips, but also they tend to account for it. So if something is slightly tight in my hips, they may not make any adjustments to it because I'm slightly larger there. But in the other places, I'm really consistent with their sizing. So I am close enough to their measurements to be able to like accurately reflect what the garments look like on somebody who would order this size, which is me. Sometimes with the shorts and such, I will come out in it and be like, it's really tight in my hip. But in all honesty, in this style, I would order a size from what you all are having me try on. And then they're all like, yeah, that makes sense based on the size chart. If we were the same size, we would do the same thing. Just because my measurements aren't like perfect to the size, and I'm not like the exact size. Like my arms are slightly, I think my upper arms are slightly smaller and my forearms are slightly bigger. So for some of the long sleeves that can make it weird. A lot of seamstresses will have what they call cutter's arms, which just means really strong forearms because you're doing manual labor as your job. So my forearms are just muscular. I just wanted to do a quick little like informing video because I think fit modeling is such a cool part of the industry and that I wasn't super aware. I actually applied to the job because they reached out to Lindenwood's fashion department to see if they had anybody interested in the position. So it was passed on to me that way. And so that's why I applied and got the job. So it kind of fell into my lap, which I'm so grateful for because last semester was the first semester where I actually like made money. I've worked all through college, but it's the first actual semester where I left with more money in my bank account than when I started. I have set my schedule up this semester to be even easier. So hopefully I'm not like busting my as much with my true job. I would say an average fitting week, I would do about 3.5 or 4 hours over the span of 2 days, which isn't a lot. And honestly, super cushy gig. I love it. I will say the one part that I haven't loved necessarily has been the reactions from some other people that I know. So including some of my classmates. It should not come as a surprise if you are watching this video. If you're like me who puts on YouTube videos and then is sewing and not looking, you may not be watching necessarily. But if you're looking at this video, I am not a thin woman. I am a fat woman. I use fat comfortably. It's a descriptor. It does not have any moral value tied to it for me. I know that's not how everybody views it. I know most people, especially right now, would do anything in their power to avoid looking like me. That's not my responsibility to carry. I've also done the work to unlearn a lot of that because societally, we're all learning it all the time. But when people hear about the job and I start talking about I get paid $50 an hour to stand there in bikinis and zone out and then occasionally like spin in a circle as I take pictures, which does kind of dumb it down. But like if I'm just having casual conversation, that's how I describe it basically. And I had a fashion design classmate of mine, actually, when we were chatting, say the phrase, I'm trying to remember exactly what she said, but she was like, wow, yeah, no, you're braver than most. And she meant it sincerely. Now, she's not the only one to have a weird reaction to me being a fit model of like, oh, I didn't know like you could do that. But that one was the most obvious of like, oh yeah, you wouldn't do it in my body. And that's fine. But I'm not sure that you need to be saying it. I think we can maybe think through our words a little bit. And when I brought it up to some of my other classmates, some of them were surprised that somebody so nice would say it. And I want to remind y'all, I've heard so much worse from people that I care about and who claim to care about me without ever realizing it. Fat phobia is so ingrained in our society, but anyone plus size will hear that phrase, hear the, oh wow, you're brave. You're so brave. Like, you know exactly how that makes you feel. It's a backhanded, diminishing kind of compliment. It doesn't come across as the way I think a lot of people mean it to. Because yes, I consider myself very lucky, very privileged that I am fully comfortable in my body. I don't really care what other people think necessarily when it comes to my body. Like, I'm in my body and my body is how I present in the world, but it doesn't have any implications on my moral standing as a person. I think there are so many more interesting things about me than my body. And it has taken me a long time to get here. It has taken me a long time to say that and really truly mean it. But I've done the work to unlearn that self-hatred and unlearn the hatred for fatter women, and especially, but fatter people in general, because I am on the smaller side of plus size. A lot of us have ingrained fat phobia, and so unlearning that is good for yourself and also good for the people around you, because plus size people around you, especially larger people, notice. I don't know, I thought it'd be a fun little video to do to start off the new year of like how it works being a fit model, because I mentioned it in my last video, and genuinely it has changed the way that I look at garment fittings. And I've been working in fittings in multiple roles. Been working in the costume shop on my campus for 3.5 years, which means I've been doing fittings for like custom tailoring and like garment construction for 3.5 years. And being the model for a company that does it in such a technical way, because a lot of their adjustments are based on like returns data and feedback from real customers. And then they look at the fit of the garments based on the numbers. It has changed the way that I view it, and I think is making me better. I would hope is making me better as a designer and better in my technical processes as well. And it is such a privilege to have such an amazing, informative job while I am still in school. And I am working on my senior collection right now, so things are crazy. And I will be showing it at Kansas City Fashion Week on March 25th. So if you all are in that Kansas City area, you should come to the show. It's going to be incredible. I have other classmates and friends of mine showing collections as well. And all in all, I think student night is always really cool because there are just so many young creatives getting into the industry, and it's really exciting to see what people come up with. And I'm really excited about what I'm working on. So I would love to see you all there. If not, I do plan to vlog it again and hopefully maybe do a little bit more of a vlog this time rather than talking about my experience like 2 months later. But hopefully I can do a couple more videos this semester. If y'all have any ideas for videos or specific common fashion, social commentary y'all want me to talk about, comment them down below because I am always down to talk about the fashion industry clearly. Anyways, if you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all next time. Cheers! There is a difference in the way that clothes fit. Oh, it's trash day. I really appreciate the garbage collectors for doing their job, but do they have to do it right now?